Mr Deputy Speaker, we could range very widely in this debate about education estimates, but I want to focus on one particular area, which is the role of our nursery schools and their importance in opening up opportunity. I want to begin by thanking the Chair of the Select Committee for pressing for this debate, and on this issue of nursery schools, to thank my honourable friend, the member for Batley and Spen, and my honourable friend, the member for Manchester Central, who from the front bench and the all-party parliamentary group respectively argue the case for these schools with skill and with passion week in and week out. Now, we have to recognise that there are parts of this country where there is a deep political and economic disaffection. Working class areas who feel with some justification that they do not get a fair shake, that the best chances and the biggest rewards go to others and not to them. And that is where education comes in. Mr Deputy Speaker, my constituency is at the wrong end of a lot of league tables. Our unemployment rate is around 3 times the national average. For those who are in work, their pay is around £100 a week less than the English average. We have something like 3 times the national average of people of working age with no formal qualifications whatsoever. And we have a far lower percentage than the national average of people with higher educational qualifications. And when it comes to this cycle of disadvantage and lack of opportunity, inequality sets in early. We already know there's a development gap which is variously measured at 12 or 15 months between children from the lowest income backgrounds and those who are better off when it comes to starting school. And we know that if that development gap is not addressed early, it can affect people for the rest of their lives, holding them back from learning what they might learn, cutting them off from opportunities and careers that they might have had, and reinforcing the inequality and lack of social mobility which is so prevalent in our country. So if we are to address this, we have to start in the early years. Now, our nursery schools are in the front line of this effort, and I regularly visit wonderful nursery schools in my constituency. Nurseries like Windsor Nursery School, Bilston Nursery School, Phoenix Nursery and the Eastfield Nursery. And the staff in these nursery schools do a fantastic job. They are fuelled by a passion to give every child the best possible start in life, no matter what that child's background is. No child is written off. Those staff will accept second best for no one. They are conscious of the importance of the role, and rather than be daunted by it, they are inspired by it and are in turn inspiring to others through the efforts that they make. But, Mr Deputy Speaker, when I visit these nursery schools, as committed and passionate as they are, they make 2 points to me which I want the Minister to reflect on today. The first is that a new funding formula, with its emphasis on per pupil per hour funding, does not reflect the reality of their costs. These are nursery schools with a fixed cost base. The emphasis on per pupil per hour funding, particularly in highly mobile areas where pupil rows can go up and down, makes it almost impossible for them to plan for the future. They need to know if they can employ a good head teacher. They need to know they can invest in the development of staff. They need to know that they can continue to provide the essential help with special educational needs and for children with disabilities that they are so good at. And they cannot do this adequately if they do not know what their budgets are going to be from year to year. There used to be a lump sum in the funding formula on top of the hourly fee which helped schools deal with this kind of planning. That element has now gone, and it's left them living from year to year, if not month to month, without knowing what the future holds. Secondly, they need more certainty about the future of even this per hour funding. At the moment, the impact of the new funding formula has been tempered by transitional relief, which, as we've heard, is not guaranteed beyond 2019-20. What is going to happen after that? If this supplementary funding is not continued, it will be a disaster for these schools. One federation of 2 nursery schools in my constituency projects a loss in income of over £100,000 per year per school if there is no supplementary funding beyond 2019-20. So it's good that we have a 30-hour offer for 3- and 4-year-olds, though I would like to see a deeper and more universal early years offer. But the key point is, whatever the numbers of hours that government offers, it is essential that this is funded properly, in a way that recognises not just pupil numbers, but the real-world costs of running a nursery school. So in conclusion, Mr Deputy Speaker, how we treat this area says much about our attitude to social mobility. If we get it right and give it the priority it deserves, then we can break through some of the barriers that hold people back. And doing something on this offers a real answer to some of the grievance and disaffection that I spoke of. There are plenty of politicians out there who are content to pour petrol on anger. That should not be our role. We should be offering a chance and not a grievance. And if we're serious about it, it should start in the early years.